Hello and welcome to our School at Home class in English for Grade 10. We are in the first quarter of our set of lessons, and I hope everybody will delight in learning today with lesson number 11. Comparing and contrasting the contents of the material viewed with outside sources of information in terms of accessibility and effectiveness. You may have experienced or seen somebody play online games. In doing so, a person will definitely choose a character that he wishes to use in playing. In choosing this character, the player will compare and contrast the strengths and weaknesses of all the other characters available in the game. In doing so, the player's mind uses a process of showing similarities and differences to make a point. This is shown in these two diagrams. Now, what is clearly shown here? This shows the following. First, one thing is better than the other. Second, some things that are alike are actually different. And third, some things which are different are actually alike. Reading a document about two or more things, just like choosing characters for online games, can be confusing. You can be helped out by sorting the information through comparing and contrasting its similarities and differences. Most, if not all, decisions we make or have made were all results of comparison and contrast. Comparing and contrasting is a part of our everyday lives. We do it to determine superiority or advantage of one compared to another. For today's lesson, we are going to discuss comparing and contrasting the contents of the material viewed with outside sources of information in terms of accessibility and effectiveness. Let us begin by defining the terms comparing and contrasting. Comparing and contrasting are ways of exploring the similarities and differences between two things. Generally speaking, comparing is showing the similarities and contrasting is showing differences between two things that are related in some ways. How do we find if two things compared are related? First, one must find a basis of comparison to be sure that the two things have enough in common. What is a basis for comparison? A basis for comparison is an essential common element that makes it logical to compare two items. After that, you can now identify their differences. Therefore, in doing comparison and contrast, use these two simple steps. First, find a basis of comparison or similarities. Second, identify their differences. Let us now read and ponder on the meaning of the poem written by Maya Angelou. When I Say I Am a Christian by Maya Angelou. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not shouting I'm clean living. I'm whispering I was lost, now I'm found and forgiven. When I say I am a Christian, I don't speak of this with pride. I'm confessing that I stumble and need Christ to be my guide. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not trying to be strong. I'm professing that I'm weak and need His strength to carry on. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not bragging of success. I'm admitting I have failed and need God to clean my mess. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not claiming to be perfect. My flaws are far too visible, but God believes I am worth it. When I say I am a Christian, I still feel the sting of pain. I have my share of heartaches, so I call upon His name. When I say I am a Christian, I'm not holier than thou. I'm just a simple sinner who received God's good grace somehow. What is the poem about? You deserve a thumbs up, for you got the right answer. The poem is about the different meaning of Christianity as experienced by the author. What is the main idea presented by the poem? Thumbs up for you. Your answer is correct. The poem speaks mainly about how humbly a Christian recognizes that everything about her being a Christian was from the power of God. Do you agree or disagree with the author that God is the source of all goodness as mentioned in the lines of the poem? You are right. Another thumbs up for you. You agree with the author that it was credited to God's goodness, why she considers herself forgiven, guided, successful, and worth it. Do you believe that others may also disagree with what the author believes in? Correct. One more thumbs up for you. People may have different views about the topic. Others may agree and others may not. What points were compared and contrasted in the poem? You are absolutely right. There are numerous points of comparison and contrast presented in the poem. The author clearly compared and contrasted the views about being a Christian in terms of being proud as contrasted to being humble, strong to being weak, being a failure as to being perfect, and to being holy as to being a sinner. Now that you have already understood the poem, let us now check the source. How do we evaluate information sources? Everyone is faced with the need to gather information from a variety of sources for different needs. Books, newspaper articles, magazine articles, specialized databases, television shows, radio programs, and websites are sources of information. As you examine each source, it is important to evaluate them to determine the quality of the information provided within it. Numerous criteria are available for evaluation, but for this instance, we will focus on accessibility and effectiveness. What is accessibility? Accessibility can be viewed as the ability to access and benefit from some system or entity. The concept focuses on enabling access for all people, whether they have this ability or not, thus brings benefits to everyone. What is effectiveness? Effectiveness is the degree to which something is successful in producing a desired result. It is the capability of producing a desired result or the ability to produce desired output. When something is deemed effective, it means it has an intended or expected outcome or produces a deep, vivid impression. Let us now go back to the poem When I Say I Am a Christian by Maya Angelou. Let us try to check its effectiveness and accessibility. Do you find the poem effective? You are correct. Thumbs up again for you. The life lesson imparted by the poem proves to be effective to different life situations of different kinds of people. Is the poem accessible to you? You are right again. The poem is easily accessible by anyone on times it may be needed. One only needs to read again to be refreshed of its lesson. Compared and contrasted to other sources, is the poem accessible and effective to you? Thumbs up for your correct answer. The poem is both accessible and effective. On the other hand, There are other sources which are as accessible and similarly effective as the given point. There are also those which are easy to access but not effective, or may be effective but hard to access. Let's try a few items as practice exercise. The topic for this exercise is about faith. Make a thumbs up if you think that the given text is effective and accessible, and a thumbs down if not. First, the movie The Shack. You are correct if your answer is a thumbs down. If you are looking for a lesson on faith, it is effective, but the accessibility is not easy since it is a movie which you need to view online or download with internet connection. The book, The Purpose-Driven Life. If your answer is a thumbs up, you are correct. The book is easily accessible to everyone since it is available in most bookstores. It is highly effective as to lessons about faith, God, and life. The TV show, 700 Club Asia. A thumbs up answer is right. The TV show, The 700 Club Asia, aired in GMA7, is very effective on matters about faith and likewise very accessible since it is shown on local Philippine television. To sum up everything we have talked about in this lesson, always remember that comparing and contrasting are ways of exploring the similarities and differences between two things. A basis for comparison is an essential common element that makes it logical to compare two items. Don't forget, accessibility and effectiveness are two of the most important criteria in evaluating information sources. This will serve as a guide in comparing and contrasting the contents of a material and determining the quality of information it provides.